Hello friends, my name is Sarah. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have a projects video for you in which I have quite a bit to share. I will show you my finished things I am working on, some new yarn, because yes, I do have some new yarn. And in case you've missed it, I have been doing weekly Vlogmases. I'm not doing daily just because that's way too much work. Now, I know Vlogmas is not everybody's cup of tea. It seems like you either love them or you hate them. And when you hate them, you really hate them. It's fine, I've just seen some conversations around it and it kind of cracks me up. But anyways, if you're into Vlogmas, I do have a couple of Vlogmases now live. I also have a budget-friendly yarn video that I put out recently, which is fun and full of all sorts of budget-friendly yarny goodness. And as always, you can find all the links to all the things down below. You know where to find it. But let's go ahead and dive into what I am wearing. I am wearing a finished item. Yes, it's been this close to being finished for quite a while now, but I have finally bound off the second armhole. How long has it been sitting with just one armhole not finished? We don't need to talk about that. But here it is. This is my Tonight Top by Lily Kate France. It is knit out of yarn that I have dyed. It was gray yarn that I over dyed with a green, so it's like a really moody, desaturated dark green, which I love. There have been all sorts of modifications that I've made. I cannot remember off the top of my head if I know I knit the first size, but I don't remember if the first size is like a traditional extra small or small. But I knit the smallest size, and then also modified it to be smaller because this pattern calls for about 1 to 3 inches of positive ease. I wanted negative ease, so I fudged the numbers to make it negative ease. Would I knit this pattern again because I want negative ease like that? Probably not. I think I might try doing the mini mock neck and then just, I don't like the super open gauge at fingering, so I might, again, I feel like I need to fudge all these different things. I'll figure out the perfect pattern eventually for this, but I do like how this one turned out. It turned out beautifully. I also modified the neckline, which I'll get up close in a second and show you. I did not do any ribbing around the neck because of my modifications and shrinking it down. It's now a little too small for me to add anything more. And then same with the armholes, because I shrunk things down. It didn't have enough space for the double knit band to go around, so I did an I-cord edge. Here it is though in all of its glory with my sweatpants. The color is showing up a little weird because, well, it's winter lighting around here, guys. It's the Pacific Northwest. It's dark and it's rainy. I can't do anything about it. But here it is. It fits beautifully. It kind of comes below my hip bone. My hip bone starts right here, and then like if I pull it down, it hits like kind of the middle of my hip bone, but I prefer it a little more relaxed and chilled out above that spot. So here's a little bit up close. You can see that beautiful 2x2 ribbing. Here is that raw neckline at the top, which honestly, it doesn't look too shabby. And then the I-cord edge around the arm. And for reference, in case you're wondering, I typically am a 33-inch bust. My rib cage is really broad. My bust is actually not very big, but my rib cage is just deep. But of course, like most women, my bust kind of fluctuates. So sometimes I'm a 32 and sometimes I'm a 34. It just kind of depends on the week and such. So, you know, as of right now, I'm a 33 and it fits beautifully. The next finished thing I have is a hat for my mom. This is just the 2x2 hat, which I've knit quite a bit recently. It's a free hat by Gannon. I knit this out of leftover We Are Knitters Meri fine wool from my cardigan. This yarn was gifted. So it fits my head nicely and has a little bit of extra room. Her head is bigger than mine, so it should fit her nice. It also has plenty of room to stretch out either way, and she could always roll it down or what have you. But other than that, not a whole lot to say about that, just because it is just a 2x2 rib hat and it's just white yarn, so woo. Okay, I do have another finished thing. I feel like this thing took me forever. Not as long as this thing, but it took me quite a while. This is my Christmas sweater. It's done. Isn't it so good? Oh my word. I love this sweater so much. Where to start? Let's start with the yarn. The yarn I used was Drops Lima. It is a DK weight. It's a wool alpaca blend. The pattern I used was not really a pattern. It was based off a photo I found on Pinterest of a vintage pattern. This beautiful pattern here does have a pattern somewhere, but it is a vintage pattern. It is a drop shoulder, and I didn't want a drop shoulder, and I didn't really want to knit from a vintage pattern. So I just took a raglan and added the color work to it. Now I just kind of winged my own raglan, but you could basically take any raglan pattern that you like the fit of and add the color work motif to it. I just waited until after I split for sleeves, knit a few rows, and then added the color work in. You just have to make sure that it's divisible by the number of stitches that are in that specific color work motif you want to use. Like this one that I did had 15 stitches, so once I knit down, I had to make sure I had the right number. So I cast on a certain amount of stitches under the sleeves to accommodate for that 15, and then I had to decrease very rapidly here to accommodate for the 15. But here we are with a fabulous color work pattern. Everything worked out beautifully. Here again, my knitting with my sweatpants. But hey, knitting can go with anything. It doesn't have to be dressed up, guys. Anyhow, the color work turned out beautiful. You can kind of see my, like, where I grabbed my floats. And this has been blocked, but it just kind of pulls the stitches a bit. It doesn't bother me. It kind of almost looks like it's part of the color work because I kept it consistent all the way around. Whatever. It may bother some people, but it doesn't bother me. But yeah, so it fits with a bit of ease. My body has a few inches of ease, and then my arms have 0 ease. If I tug on them, there is a little ease, but for the most part, there is no ease in the sleeves, which I don't mind. I kind of like a fitted sleeve, especially for this style. I feel like it looks really good. But yeah, I can either tuck it into jeans, like tuck it into like a pencil skirt. How cute would that be? Or, you know, just leave it down with some jeans or sweatpants. I just did a 2x2 rib on the neck, the cuffs, and the hem. Nothing fancy. Now, the yarn is a touch, not super scratchy, but maybe like pokey. Like I can feel it on my skin, and it's not like, oh my gosh, get it off of me. It's just kind of like it's there. It's like a little bit more rustic. It's not like crazy rustic, but I would definitely say before you knit an entire garment out of this yarn, I would just maybe find a ball, knit a swatch, and put it like under like your bra strap, or tuck it inside of whatever garment you're wearing at the time and let it rub against your chest and see how you feel. I currently am wearing a high neck thing just because I don't like the way it feels on my chest. My chest is very sensitive though, but it doesn't bother my arms at all, or even really my neck. It's just my chest is super sensitive. So as of right now, I'm not wearing it next to skin, but I also don't feel like my knits all need to be next to skin soft. But I really like the way it feels. It's cozy and warm, and it screams Christmas without being, I'm a Christmas sweater. It's like Christmassy and cheerful without being obnoxious and in your face. I feel like I could wear this all winter long and it would be perfect. Yeah, I'm very happy with this. I will link down below in the description the pin from Pinterest that I used, so you can go there and take a look at it and see if you like the vintage pattern, or if you want to also copy the color work motif and just add it to your own raglan or other type of sweater. All right, I'm just gonna keep wearing it because it's cozy and it's cheerful, and we're in December, so I gotta get as much wear out of it as I can. Okay, let's show you what I've been working on. The first thing I haven't worked on a ton. I just kind of started and then set it down. I started working on my Limonada, which is a crochet top by here on the screen. It is a pattern that is in the Pom Pom magazine. I crocheted this first one up, and then I need to actually measure it and block it and stuff before I crochet anymore, just because I don't want to end up crocheting a whole bunch and they're like way too big or way too small. So I need to do that before I move on any further. The yarn I'm using is Paintbox Cotton DK in the color Pistachio. The next project I have is actually being set aside for now, just because I have too many other things I want to work on, and I mainly cast this on just so I had something to knit on while we were at the airport waiting to go on vacation. So I have this plain white raglan sweater, no pattern, just kind of cast on. It's got a double knit neckband. I'm basically copying that brown one that I made before, but adding way more short rows to it. So I finished the short rows because I think the other one I only added like 2 or 3 short rows to. This one has way more. So hopefully it fits much better. I haven't tried it on yet because I haven't had cord long enough, but I will probably try it on before I continue knitting anymore. But I am knitting this out of Drops Safran. If you recall, I had talked about casting on my projects for traveling and was like, okay, well, I want to either bring my dark blue yarn or the brown yarn, purely because I didn't want to get said white yarn dirty. Well, I was like, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous reason. I want the white sweater before I want the other ones. I want the brown one for literally everything. Like, there's so many outfits I want it to go with, but again, that was going to be too complicated to bring with me. And then the blue one I would love for holidays, but I knew I wasn't going to get it done in time for the holidays anyway, so I figured, why bother? I'll have that ready for next year. So I was like, I'm gonna bring this because I would love to wear this in spring, so I can cast that on now and slowly work on it until spring. So I brought it, and then I got it dirty. We were waiting in the airport and the kids were eating and I was eating. We were passing around food and our baggage is everywhere. Things are everywhere, and I spilled burger sauce on it. I didn't realize this until later on when we were on the plane. I was like, what is that? It's burger sauce on my sweater. That's fine. I was able to get majority of it out though at the hotel, like with some soap and just a washcloth. And then like I can't find it now. So my guess is I got majority of it out, and then I'll get the rest of it out, you know, when I wash and block it. I had also taken with me on vacation my Christmas socks. So I have 2 of them going at once, separately on different needles. I have liked this method so far, so I'm continuing on. Here is the first sock. This is from Pacific Northwest Fibers or Yarns, I can't remember which. This is her retro Christmas base. This is one of my Santa sheepies, which is all sold out now, but here is one of them. This is Christmas at Disney. So I have the first one. I knit all of the leg on the first one while we were there, and then knit majority of the leg on the second one, and then have knit the heels on both since we've been back. And then I started on the foot of one of them today while I was editing this week's Vlogmas. And so for these socks, normally I do a heel flap and gusset, but I decided to do a shadow wrap heel. I did that for my Nest socks. My Nest socks. I finished my Nest socks by Songbird Handmade. I've been wearing them though. So I do have another finished item. Here's a picture. I did finish them, but I've been wearing them, so they're dirty. And I'm not going to show you dirty socks. Worn socks is fine as long as they're clean, but I'm not showing you dirty socks. Ew. Anyhow, I liked the shadow wrap on that, and I feel like it fit okay. So I decided to do it on these ones for a couple of reasons. One, it's easier and a little bit smoother than the heel flap turn and gusset. And I liked that it wasn't going to mess with the striping. So when you do a heel flap and heel turn, when you then do the gusset, it's like wider there until you decrease down. So that makes the stripes skinnier for a while. So I like that this wasn't going to interrupt the striping. See how the striping is nice and even all the way through. But it's not an afterthought. I don't have to cut anything or put it in later. It's just a nice little short row heel. That looks really good. We'll see how I like it in these socks. If I don't like it, oh well, they're Christmas socks. It's not like I wear them year round. I'll wear them anyways because they're so cute. The main thing is making sure I just knit the foot long enough and don't give up partway through, because I have a tendency to do that. I get partway through a foot and say, it's good enough. And then my foot's too short and then my heel is sliding. So the goal is to knit a long enough foot. In case you're wondering, I'm knitting on 2.25 millimeter needles, which is a US 1. And I am knitting 72 inch, not 72 inch, I'm knitting 72 inch socks. I'm knitting 72 stitch socks because I have big feet. Anyhow, the next thing I have been working on is a sweater for my sister. So I drew her name for our Christmas gifts that we're doing for my family. And I asked her if she would be interested in a sweater. She said yes. So she picked out the yarn and the pattern. So she knows what she's getting, but that's okay. So I'm knitting her the Home Sweater V-neck by Caidree. I already had the pattern too, which is great. And because I've knit this sweater before. So I'm knitting this out of Lion Brand Woolies in the color, I think it's like Natural Heather. I have on here my little Simply Serving snowman stitch marker, which I love. Yeah, not a whole lot to say as of right now. I'm knitting her the second size, which is the size I would probably knit myself. We wear about the same size. Her bust is technically smaller, I think, than mine, but she's just a taller person than I am. So I'm knitting her the second size. And I think it'll work just fine because I gave her my brown sweater and it fit her good, except for the length. It could have been a little longer, so I'm just going to keep that in mind when knitting the length, that she is a taller person than me and her torso was longer than mine. It's funny because even though she's taller than me, our inseam on our legs is the same because her torso is longer than mine. Anyways, yeah, second size. Made no modifications, don't plan on making any modifications really, except for the sleeves, which I never knit sleeves to pattern, but I plan on narrowing the sleeves down a bit. Per her request, she was like, we like not have the sleeves quite so wide, so I will just decrease a little bit more evenly down the sleeves to have it a little bit narrower at the cuff. And in case you wonder on that, I am knitting on a 5.5 millimeter, which I think is up a whole size from hers. I think it's knit on 4.5 millimeter, possibly 5, but I always have to go up. I think Sabina just knits looser than I do, and I'm a pretty tight knitter, so I always have to go up a needle size or 2. I do have one last little thing. It's a potato. Not really, it's not a potato. It will be a moose. This moose. I found this pattern on Knit Pic's website. No, correction, I found it on Pinterest and then found it on Knit Pic's website. It's a free pattern for this little moose, and he is so freaking cute that I decided I wanted to knit one for my living room for Christmas time. So I am knitting a moose. It's so like, it looks like a potato though, doesn't it? So this is just the head at the moment. I haven't added anything else yet. I had to wait for polyfill to arrive. I had almost finished the head and then I was like, okay, now I need to go get my stuffing, and I went to go grab it and was like, wait, I don't have any because I think I gave it away to somebody. So it's fine. I had to order some and wait for it to arrive. But I am knitting this little guy out of Stylecraft Special Chunky, which I got from Wool Warehouse. I normally probably wouldn't order an acrylic yarn all the way from Wool Warehouse, but I had to panic order yarn for this thing just in case I ran out, which I didn't. And then I ended up finding a ball hidden somewhere, so I didn't even need to order in the first place. But anyhow, because I was placing the order for this yarn, I figured I might as well place an order for this yarn. That way I'm not buying from multiple different companies and paying multiple different shippings. I'm just paying for one. So I ordered this. It's the color Mocha, and I'm holding it double with some leftover Hobie's alpaca blaze that I had. I thought the alpaca would make a difference in it, but it really isn't. I just want it a little bit thicker because the gauge on the mousse in the pattern, you can see the polyfill inside, which I'm not a huge fan of. So I went down a needle size. So my mousse is probably going to be smaller than theirs, but I don't really care. I just don't want to see the filling inside of it. I want it to just be straight up mousse, which I have the other two yarns here, which are like new yarns, but I won't go into that quite so much yet. I also got this yarn, which is called Khaki. That will be the wreath that goes around him. And I do think I'm going to crochet the wreath just because I don't like the look of the knitted one. I don't like knit baubles, and I'm pretty sure they're baubles. I haven't looked that far ahead in the pattern yet. And again, the gauge is really loose. So I think I'm going to crochet a wreath, and then I'm going to add some little red bits in there because I like a traditional red, green, gold Christmas. So I'm going to add little bits of red in there. And then I have the plain white, which is called Cream, for his antlers and hooves. So that's all I've been working on as far as knitting. If you're interested in other crafty things, I do have another crafty thing to share. And then after that, I will share all the yarny goodness I've recently received. But if those things aren't really your thing, we will catch you next time. But if you're at least interested in the other crafty bits I've been up to, I haven't painted at all lately, which is making me a little sad. I did paint a card for a friend, but that's it. But I picked up some wool fiber and a drop spindle. So here's the Turkish drop spindle that I bought. I bought this off of Etsy, and I bought this Malabrigo merino fiber from La Mercerie. Well, I did a pop-up there. Now, I'm not taking any classes or any such thing, so I have no clue what I'm doing. I am winging it all the way, kind of working off of YouTube videos and such. And it's such a hot mess. But here is my first ball of yarn, if you can even call it that. Oh man, and it's not too bad at the top, but underneath it's even worse. But I mean, look at that huge chunk right there. What is that? And then there's like some really skinny bits. I mean, I know your first spin is never like amazing, but it just kind of cracks me up to look at this. And I want to knit something out of this because I feel like if you're gonna spin yarn, you should knit things with it. I mean, that's for me. If other people like to just spin because I like to spin, that's awesome. But I want to knit something out of this, and I want to knit a Christmas ornament because I'm learning around Christmas time, and like it's such a fun and funky color. And my tree is mostly gold and greens and reds and whites, but I feel like this is just so cute. It has to go on my tree to remember my first ever spin. If I continue spinning, I don't know. Not gonna lie, I kind of want to go down the rabbit hole and get a little like wheel, because I find this a bit to manage. I haven't quite figured out a groove with it yet. I feel like it would be helpful to spin with somebody, but we don't have any local yarn stores nearby us, so it's kind of hard. I mean, maybe I could put out a thing on a group and see if there's anybody nearby who spins, but it's like an extroverted thing to do, and I just don't like reaching out to people. It stresses me out. But yeah, I have my box of fiber here. I also have another fiber that I bought that's a Coriadale, which I was told is probably the better yarn to start, or the better fiber to start with spinning. But it's really pretty, and I don't want to mess up the first fiber. I mean, I can always buy more. It wasn't that expensive. I think the Coriadale was like $6 for the 3.5 ounces, 4 ounces that I bought. So it's not like it was super expensive, but it's so pretty. Here is that beautiful Corriedale. I just didn't want to spin with this for my first time. I wanted to use the bright colorful one. Plus it's like more fun, you know, for your first spin. It's like interesting and whatnot. But I was told the merino is probably not the best, and I don't know, it's our first spin, so I can't tell you if it's like good or bad. I guess I'll be able to tell you when I start with the other one. But I like to challenge myself, you know, in unnecessary ways. It's fine. So yes, spinning, I want to dive down the rabbit hole so very, very far. I want to try spinning on a wheel. I want to spin all the different things. I'm trying not to become obsessed. But I can see why people get obsessed. Yeah, so there's that. Okay. Are you ready to see all the new things I have recently purchased and received? I'm going to warn you, there is a lot. I understand again that, you know, all the yarny acquisitions, as people tend to call them, is not your thing. I get it. But I like seeing what other people get. I think it's really interesting, and I like seeing all the different new brands and different types of yarns and all the squishy goodness. So I'm going to share with you what I've received. Some yarn is purchased, and then some has been gifted for my Winter Wishes sock swap, which is really exciting. But let me show you the other yarns that I got from Wool Warehouse when I ordered, because yes, when I place an order from them, I like to make sure it's worth it. So I ordered the white yarn for this sweater, which I didn't need because one, I ended up with like, I think 5 grams left of this by the time I was done, and then found a ball hiding in a basket. I didn't need to buy this or any of this yarn to begin with. I normally buy yarn with a project in mind, like always. As a rule, I like to buy it with something specific in mind. Now, if I don't get to it right away or the plans change, that's fine. But I like to have a reason for buying the yarn. When I got my order, this was in there. I don't know why this was in there. I don't know what I was wanting to make with this. I've racked my brain, and I don't know why. There are 2 balls of this Drops Lima in this dark gray color, and I don't know why. I don't know why. Is it a hat? Maybe? Fingerless mittens? Maybe. Like, now that I have it, I think I'd make some fingerless mittens out of it. But I feel like that's not why I bought it. But I don't know why I bought it. So here we are. I have 2 balls of this for I don't know what reason. But here it is. It will get used. It will get used. But normally I like to have a good, solid reason for having purchased. And then I have this color, also Drops Lima. I have a sweaters quantity already of this color. But the sweater I'm wanting to make, well, one of the 3 different patterns I am wanting to make with this yarn. I haven't narrowed down which one I want to make yet. They're all textured or cabled or something along those lines, and it needed a little bit more yardage than what I had. So I decided, well, since I'm already ordering, I'll order that now. So that way, once I start knitting the sweater, I don't have to order it then later. Okay, I ordered another ball of this Patton's Croy in red for heels, toes, and cuffs because I ordered this stunning yarn from Bella Filato. It's part of her Nordic Winter collection. I bought this color, which is what is this? Icicle Cascade, which has got these really pretty pinks and blues. And it's so pastel-y and dreamy, which is not my normal colors. And it's sparkle. It's a sparkle base. So very not me. But, you know, I love tit. And I like the idea of these 2 together. This like soft pastel with this punchy red. So these will become Christmas socks. Who knows? Maybe I'll even knit this for like Claire, like make her some Christmas socks at some point. I don't know, but they will become Christmas socks at some point. Then I placed an order from Full Moon Fibers. This yarn was part of their like Christmas collection. Oh my goodness. This color is mistletoe. Let me pull the band off so you can get the whole thing. Oh, I love it so much. I love that there was so many like greens in here. And then the red, and it's just so freaking delicious. And yeah, as soon as I'm done with my stripy Christmas socks, I'm casting these on. I also ordered this neon number from them, not my normal color. And this is a different base. This is a Highland wool base. I think there's a card here. Yeah, it's their DK. It's 100% Peruvian Highland non-superwash wool. And I'm thinking just like a couple rounds on like a neutral hat, like just along like the 2x2 ribbing or something, like on the brim of it, that will fold up and be kind of in the middle of the hat. Yeah, I really like this idea. So I got that, or like on the cuffs of a sleeve, something neutral, like just something that's neutral with this along with it. And then Jessica and Allison were very sweet and then also sent me this cute little gift of needle stoppers, the little balloon doggies. How cute is that? We'll definitely be using these. Also because I lose my needle stoppers all the time. I'm always losing them. I don't know why. Okay. Now I have my Winter Wishes sock swap box. I'm not going to show you everything that's in here, but I am going to show you a few of the things and the yarn. One of the things I have to show you is the cutest little tea towel from Juniper. Maybe. It's a sheepy tea towel. Here's the pattern all over. Like, how friggin' cute is that? I haven't opened it yet because I want to take a picture of like my whole box together. But I can't wait to use it because it's so adorable. All right, now I'm gonna preface this with, she went way overboard. She spoiled me and I feel incredibly blessed and overjoyed. I was having a poopy day when I got it too, so it just made me so happy. So first thing she has in here is this High Country Wool 100% domestic Western wool sock yarn. So it's 100% wool, as in like the wool is like domestic wool, but it does have nylon in here. It's a 90% fine merino and then a 10% nylon, and it does say hand wash and lie flat to dry. So I'm going to assume based off that it is a non-super wash wool, which I'm very excited about trying this. It's not my normal color. I feel like I would normally want to knit a hat out of this, but I feel like socks, like it is a sock yarn. It's a non-superwash. It has the nylon, so I want to knit some socks out of this. And I'm feeling like cabled socks would be really good in this. How cute will that be? I'm very excited. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I want it to happen at some point. And then from the same from the same company, High Country Wool, this is the flock base. It is 100% fine merino DK. It's like this beautiful twisty 2-ply. This yarn is so soft. Oh my goodness. I don't need any more hats, but I want to knit a hat out of this. Or fingerless mitts. Ooh. Fingerless mittens with this at the cuff, at the bottom and the top. Oh my goodness, yes. Okay. Okay. I'm very excited about this idea. Okay, and then she got me this Circus Tonic handmade yarn. It's from Australia. This is a colorway Desert. How beautiful is this? It's like a neutral dream. I love it. So this is an 80-20 but not an 80-20 merino nylon. This is an 80 merino, 20% bamboo. What? I've never heard of a base like this before for socks. And I'm really curious by this. Have you ever seen a base like this? And if you have, what have you made out of it? Did you knit socks? How did they hold up? I have all the questions and I can't find very much information online about it. So if you have information, put it all below, please. I'm very curious. Yeah, this really intrigues me. But I love the color. It's like a very soft, like neutral pink and gray. And I love it. I saved the best one for last. This is actually Ryan, my Winter Wishes Sock Swap Partners yarn company. She owns Salty Blonde Fibers, and look at this beautiful yarn. It is her DK. It is a super wash merino and silk. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, I love it so much. And I'm like torn between like 3 different ideas with this yarn. One is a hat. Are we surprised with all my hats at the moment? Fingerless mittens, socks. I don't know. It's just so pretty. I don't think I want this on my feet. I think it's too pretty for feet. No such thing. But I'm thinking fingerless mittens. How fun would that be? I only have 2 pairs of fingerless mittens. One pair is they're both too small. One's too small because the wool shrunk up. The other one is too small because I was running out of yarn and I just knit them too small on purpose. So I could use more fingerless mittens. Okay, and then I'll show you the last 2 things. Well, there are more things in the box, but I'm gonna show you the last main fibery related things in the box that she sent me. She sent me this little notion case from Firefly Notes. It's this beautiful little butterfly on these blossoms. And then inside it has this fabulous row counter, which I don't have one of these. So I'm very excited to use that. And then she gave me stitch markers from Sable and Stone, which I'm very excited about because I've always eyeballed their stitch markers. And I'm so excited to have some of my very own. How beautiful are these? Oh, I love getting stitch markers, especially from other makers. Yes, I make my own, but I love getting markers from other makers. So those are all my new Yarny goodies. I do have a couple more things coming in the mail. I have some yarn that I got from ZZ Textiles for my sibling sweater my size. I finally found that brown, that like tannish goldy brown color that I was looking for. So I pre-ordered that a while ago. So that probably won't show up until next month. And then I do have some more yarn coming for another match cardigan and a new yarn that I'm gonna just test and see what I think of it. So I went on a bit of a buying frenzy, which is not super like me. I normally don't like to overdo it, but I overdid it. So I'm trying to tell myself, don't buy anything more. You don't need anything more. You have a massive amount of yarn at the moment. I have the most yarn I've ever had, which is still a lot less than a lot of other people, but it's more than what I like to have. I probably have sweater quantities worth of yarn, and then like a few like t-shirts worth, and then lots of different socks and hats options. That's more than enough. I don't need any more than that. It's overwhelming as it is. So now I need to go knit all the things. I have all the yarn, not a lot of time, but I need to get to it. So anyways, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here for the day. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. We will see you next time in my next projects video. I do plan on doing some other fun videos coming up, so make sure you look out for those, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.